What she's learning.
Well, Golston, California lawmakers face the first major bill deadline on Friday, and that's bringing fresh scrutiny to this whole situation again. They're nearly halfway through the state's lawmaking process at this point. They have until the end of the week to decide whether to pass or kill 697 proposed laws. But of those 697, a small fraction have anything to do with affordability.
Our constituents, they don't feel that the state of California is working for them.
6 months ago, Democratic leaders vowed to tackle California's cost of living.
This Senate must double down on our efforts to make life more affordable and livable, make our economy work for all and not just a privileged few.
The two leaders, Senate Pro Tem Mike McGuire and Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas, limited the amount of bills lawmakers could file this year in order to focus.
We're doing so because we want every leader in this room to have the greatest possible bandwidth to focus on laws that uplift affordability and prosperity.
But now, nearly halfway through the state's lawmaking process, the Democratic leaders don't have a set, cohesive plan, and they're still working with and voting on hundreds of proposed laws.
Clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote.
Small fraction could address affordability.
Well, that's a definite big question.
Chris McKaylee is a longtime lobbyist and adjunct McGeorge School of Law professor.
You have to look at the affordability question from both sides. What will increase costs and what will actually decrease costs?
So just in other words, with so many laws that could pass this year, I mean, Californians could actually be looking at greater costs in some cases. Is that fair to say?
In some areas, we could see increased costs, and ultimately it is the consumer, the everyday Californian, who will ultimately bear responsibility for those costs, unfortunately.
We as Republicans have pushed for, cost-cutting measures since day one, but a lot of our bills either didn't get a hearing, they didn't get out of committee.
Republicans Monday launched a cost of living week to call this out.
I think people are tired of talk. They want action.
But Democrats, like the Assembly's powerful appropriations chair, say they're working on it, noting there are major proposals to stop lawsuits from slowing down desperately needed new housing.
I think every one of us understands the need on housing in particular, and we're committed to delivering on that this year.
But on the cost of fuel and food, their plan is not as clear.
At this time, we are not seeing anything that's going to move grocery prices in the right direction.
Daniel Conway is with the California Grocers Association. He says some other proposed labor and environmental laws would actually make grocery prices higher, including bills that set new rules for their shopping carts and self-checkout stations.
Reforms that go nowhere, basically, and the frustration that's mounted since then. And so as much as we're encouraged by the intention of these legislators, the challenge is that their actions seem to be going in the wrong direction.
Now, we asked Senate Pro Tem Mike McGuire and Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas for interviews today, but they were not available. When I asked if they're close to a deal or a plan that could provide relief to Californians, instead of answering the question, they sent me a lengthy statement blasting President Trump and Republicans. That statement is on our website right now. We should note Republicans represent the super minority in California. They have hardly any say at the state capitol, and Democrats don't need any members of that party to pass anything in this state.
Well, Ashley, is there any set timeline on when they could maybe have something in place when it comes to a plan?
Yeah, Golston, that's not clear. The Assembly plans on having a series of committee hearings to dive into that affordability issue, but nothing is on the schedule yet. Daniel Conway with the Grocers Association actually pointed to the state budget and said he's hopeful once that's wrapped up by the end of June, then these conversations could pick back up. The final deadline, though, to pass new laws for the year here in California is September 12th. Back to you.
All right, and they will have to own it, whatever happens. Thanks, Ashley.